Hey, it's Clay Trader, and this will be a video chart on Washington Mutual Incorporated, WAMUQ. Keep that in mind, Q, but it's one of those things where if you don't know that Washington Mutual has a Q on the end of it by now, you're either new to the stock market or just flat out don't pay attention. But nonetheless, there's still money to be made here since the stock does trade, and it's had some nice little fluctuations here that have presented some nice, possibly 100% moves and so forth. So it's worth taking a look at. And I've been getting some questions on it as it's kind of pulled back the past couple of days, particularly today. So I want to go over just kind of the weekly chart and then the daily chart. Not so much the weekly, more of the daily, but the weekly still does kind of paint a picture of what's going on. So let's just dig in. The key thing right now to keep your eye on is this 50-day simple moving average, this purple line here. And the reason I say that is because what it's telling you is what's the overall trend right now. What's the overall trend of the past 50 days or so, so the past couple months. And you can clearly see that the trend is up. Now, with that, there's kind of a cliff note, if you will, and that is it still going to hold? What we don't want to see is the price fall below this. Two good examples here. We had the price pull back, and then literally right here, boom, right off the 50-day, made a nice hop back up. Today, you can see that the price fell and once again bounced right off from that purple line. Didn't quite close up that high, but the point I'm trying to make is the 50 has held twice now, once, twice, as nice solid support. But it's getting tested again, and what we don't want to see happen is this thing fail as support, because we already have our shorter term moving averages, this gray and maroon, starting to go sideways now. But like I said, the one thing in people's favor is this one is still in an uptrend. So for you people going long, I mean, there's still hope because the overall trend is still up. But there's warning flags now as we need to see if this purple line can hold strong. The other price level to note is, let's say that this 50 fails, then we have this level here. Let me move it up some, right there, and let me change that to green to represent support. Um, but you have this level here, and we had a gap up here, and then there's quite a bit of history now in terms of the price bouncing off it. Here we had the price drop below, bounce right back up. I'm guessing this was a bad print that day, so I'm not going to count that. But here we had another time. Here are two more days, and then once again here, the price came down here. So far, four times, price has come down and found support at this area, and it's slightly below this purple line. So if the purple line does fail, don't freak out right away, but right away you need to keep your eye on this level here and see what this does. Because if this one fails, then the problem is it becomes a high risk situation in terms of falling. The next support level is not until down here. So as you can see, between this support and this one, that's a pretty big drop right there. So if this one doesn't hold, it's one of those situations where the price could really fall down pretty quickly because up here the price went up quickly, so it created these gaps in between support levels. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Now on the other side of the coin, in terms of resistance, we have this pattern here that's shaping up where we have this line sloping down here like this. So actually, let me get that to red so everybody remembers red for resistance. That we have, the bears are slowly pressing down on this, but at the same time, the bulls have been maintaining their ground. So somebody's something's gonna fail and somebody's gonna win here. It's just a matter of who. Right now, it's looking like the bulls are gonna have to make another stand. But if the price bounces back up here, it's going to be the bears that are going to need to make another stand. So that's kind of the overall longer term pattern. Now hopping over to the weekly chart, you can see this exactly, except it's just in a shorter time frame. We had a nice burst up here, and then from there it's kind of put in a bull flag, bull pennant, whatever you want to call it. But the bottom line is, on this big week here where the price put in what we'd call the flag pull here, there is big volume. And since then, during the consolidation period, you can see that there's been significantly less below average volume in comparison with the breakout day. So it's a nice little pattern shaping up here. But once again, it's just a matter of who's going to win out of this. And this sort of consolidation pattern, the edge goes to the bulls, but does that necessarily mean the bulls are going to win? No, there's no givens like that. But it does say that the edge is to the bulls. But nonetheless, you still need to be careful. You can't get lackadaisical and just assume that it's going to break out to the upside. It could break down to the downside, and people need to be prepared for that. So, but I did want to give that because it does really show how on this week here, the breakout week, very nice volume, and then from there has consolidated, and that's exactly what you want to see in one of these patterns. So, yeah, this week's been kind of rough, but there's still hope. You're still within the range, so it's not worth freaking out and jumping out windows or anything like that. So if you have any questions, shoot me a message, and I'll do my best to help you out. But once again, this was WAMUQ Washington Mutual. Thanks for listening, and let me know if you have any questions.